under the bright lights of Las Vegas, where the air crackled with energy and anticipation. The crowd gathered in waves. 2 nations, 2 warriors, 1 ring. The MGM Grand buzzed with electricity as fans draped in Mexican flags and American pride roared in anticipation. This wasn't just a fight, it was a collision of legacies. Leo Santa Cruz, the relentless machine from California, came into the ring not just as a champion, but as a storm that never stopped moving. Across from him stood Cristian Mijares, the wily veteran, a man who once ruled the super flyweight world with dazzling skill and elusive movement. Though older, though counted out by some, Mijares still carried the fire of a warrior, and he was here to prove that class never fades. The ring announcer's voice echoed like thunder. WBC Super Bantamweight Champion of the World, Leo El Terremoto Santa Cruz. The crowd erupted, but when Mijares' name was called, a respectful wave of cheers followed. This was a veteran people, admired, a craftsman of the sweet science. The bell rang, and just like that, the storm began. Santa Cruz came out like a man on a mission, his gloves pumping like pistons. From the first second, he threw in volume, targeting Mijares' body with crunching left hooks and double jabs upstairs. Mijares, to his credit, slipped and countered with intelligence, but already he was being forced backward, tested by the young lion's pressure. You could feel it. This wouldn't be a chess match. It was going to be a test of heart, of will, of how much punishment a man could take and still throw back. The first round ended with Mijares breathing hard, not from fear, but from absorbing the full force of a man 10 years younger and unwilling to give an inch. Round 2 began the same way the first ended, with Santa Cruz charging forward like a machine with no brakes. His trademark pressure wasn't just physical, it was mental. Constant punches, relentless pace. He didn't wait, didn't pause, didn't give Mijares a second to think. This wasn't just offense, it was psychological warfare. Cristian Mijares, though aging, was no ordinary opponent, a former unified champion. He had seen every style in the book. He danced with power, slipped through pressure, and outfought younger, stronger men. Now he found himself under siege, but not lost. Every time Leo threw 5 or 6 shots, Mijares looked for the window. A sharp counter left here, a slick pivot there. The Mexican technician was showing flashes of the master he once was. But Leo Santa Cruz, he wasn't looking to play chess. He wanted a war, and that's exactly what he dragged Mijares into. By round 3, the crowd was up on its feet. Santa Cruz pinned Mijares to the ropes and unloaded, left hooks to the ribs, right hands upstairs, uppercuts in tight. The rhythm was unbreakable. Mijares tried to spin off, but Leo was always there, smothering, suffocating. Still, Cristian stood tall, digging in, refusing to fold. He fought with the pride of a man who'd carried Mexican boxing on his back for years. A clash of heads opened a cut above Santa Cruz's right eye. Blood streamed down his face, but he didn't blink. If anything, it only made him more dangerous. The sight of his own blood triggered something in him. He stepped in deeper, threw harder. Mijares responded, lashing out with crisp counters, but the tide was rising fast. By the end of round 4, the tone was clear. Santa Cruz wasn't letting up, and Mijares, he wasn't backing down. This wasn't going to be a boxing match. This was becoming a battle for survival. The bell rang for round 5, and for a brief moment the pace slowed, not because Leo Santa Cruz wanted it to, but because Cristian Mijares made it so. The veteran began to move, subtly and cleverly. He used his legs, stepped off the line, circled out, gave Leo angles to chase. Suddenly, Santa Cruz's usual avalanche of punches wasn't landing cleanly. The crowd sensed the shift. Was the old master adjusting? Was Mijares about to turn the tide? Mijares began to land, sharp, surgical left hands that snapped Leo's head back. A lead right hook, pivot, and gone. The crowd gasped. For the first time, Santa Cruz looked, slowed. Not beaten, not hurt, but puzzled. Mijares' experience was beginning to show. The Mexican southpaw had fought the best. Vic Darchinyan, Jorge Arce, Jose Navarro. And now he was showing that time inside the ring was a weapon too. But this was where the story deepened. Because champions aren't just forged by dominance. They're defined by how they respond with. The rhythm is broken. Leo gritted down, bit his mouthpiece, and turned the fight into a phone booth brawl. He cut the ring again. He stepped in. He threw. 1 punch, 2 punches, then 5, then 10. By the 6th round, he was back to overwhelming volume, trading finesse for ferocity. He didn't care if he got hit. He cared about breaking Mijares down, making him feel the weight of every second, every breath, every round. Blood now painted Leo's brow, but Mijares was wearing the fight too, not in red, but in the slowing of his legs, the slack in his guard, the deeper breaths between exchanges. Still, he never stopped trying. He fired back with pride, chin tucked, teeth gritted. 2 warriors, 1 ring, and 1 storm that would not stop coming. By round 7, the fight had transformed into something primal. The kind of bout that tests not just your chin or conditioning, but your soul. The chants from the crowd echoed through the arena, a rhythmic roar of voices calling out for heart, for courage, for war. And both men answered. Leo Santa Cruz, bleeding from a clash of heads, moved forward as if possessed. His gloves barely returned to guard before they were back in motion, drilling into Mijares' body and skull. Left hook, right uppercut, jab, jab, cross. His combinations were not wild, but calculated chaos. And yet Cristian Mijares did not wilt. He stood in the center of the storm, slipping when he could, countering when he must. Every time Leo surged forward, Mijares met him with something slick. A pivot, a shoulder roll, a sharp left hand down the pipe. You could see flashes of the wizardry that once made him a unified world champion. But the pace, the unrelenting pace, it was a mountain even the most seasoned legs couldn't outrun. By round 8, Mijares began to fade. His movement wasn't gone, but slower. His counters less frequent. The volume of Santa Cruz's attack was beginning to drown the rhythm out of him. Every flurry was a wave, crashing into a shoreline slowly eroding. And still, Mijares fought with Mexican pride burning in his chest. He wasn't just fighting to win. He was fighting to be remembered, to leave the ring knowing that he never bowed, never gave in. The crowd respected it. The commentators praised it. And Santa Cruz, he felt it too. Because deep down, even as he pressed for dominance, he knew, to break a man like Mijares, you don't just need power, you need something savage. And Leo Santa Cruz had it. The 12th and final round arrived, and with it, a sense of reverence. The kind of electricity that comes when fans know they've witnessed something deeper than a fight. This was heart versus fire. Technique versus tenacity. Youth versus legacy. Leo Santa Cruz wasn't slowing down. Not after 11 relentless rounds. Not with the title on the line. Not with a cut bleeding above his eye and sweat flying from every blow. He kept coming forward, pushing Cristian Mijares to the corners, to the ropes, to the very edge of willpower. Santa Cruz didn't want to win by points. He wanted to make a statement. And he did it with volume, precision, and an engine that refused to stall. But what truly made this final round unforgettable was Cristian Mijares himself. He stood tall, bruised, battered, and clearly down on the scorecards, yet still refusing to retreat. Even with his legs heavy and the punishment mounting, he dug deep and fired back. Left hands, right hooks, slipping shots and answering with pride. He didn't clinch. He didn't coast. He fought. Every second, every breath, In those final moments, both men stood in the center of the ring, trading letter like it was the first round, not the last. Punch for punch, chin to chin. Santa Cruz's storm met Mijares' stand. The bell rang, and the arena erupted. There was no controversy, no confusion. The judges returned with a unanimous decision, all in favor of the champion. Leo Santa Cruz, still undefeated, still the WBC Super Bantamweight champion. But what stood out wasn't just the win, it was the war. Santa Cruz had proven he was a machine, a volume-punching, pressure-breaking storm. Mijares had proven he was a man of pride, of legacy, a true Mexican warrior who would go out on his feet, never backing down. And together, they gave boxing something it never forgets, a fight full of soul.